In this video, we will look at the Calcs Events Tile. The calculation service is one of several clients that connects to the view service to read data from the historian. Once a calculation has been performed, the output tag and its data are written back to the historian using the local store and forward service. Calc should be written to their own dataset, as it is a different data source than the raw data that is being collected. Events are stored in a local SQLite database by default, but can be configured to be stored in Microsoft SQL. When we first open the tile, we are presented with an overview screen displaying any calculations that have been created in the list below. Calculations are listed alphanumerically. Using the search bar, calcs can be filtered by name, separating keywords with spaces and prepending keywords with an exclamation mark to remove them from the list. The buttons on the right allow the user to start and stop any calculations that are selected below. Multiple calculations can be selected using Control-click or Shift-click. The Add button creates a new calculation. Import and Export are used to migrate calculations to another calculation server. In this process, a JSON file is generated which contains the configuration for each calc. Note, this does not migrate the data produced by the calculations, only the calculations themselves. Calculated data is contained in DataSets in the historian. Selecting a calculation below, we can see its status metrics on the left. The actions allow us to start and stop, edit, copy, and delete the calculation. Events are indicated with a bell icon. If we click the bell, a new screen appears showing all of the current and historical events that have taken place. Double-clicking or selecting the Edit button opens the calculation to view and make changes to its configuration. At the top, we have the name of the calculation or event. This is what will be displayed in the list on the previous screen. Next, we have the asset path. The asset path allows the user to select a specific view from the view service from which to load assets. This is only necessary if needing to create an asset-based calculation, whereupon an asset type can be selected from the list below. If it is not asset-based, the asset path can be left alone. The meta field allows the user to attach properties to the output calc tag, which will be stored in the historian. The property name and its value are separated by a double colon. Multiple properties are separated by a double semicolon. The backfill to date time picker allows the user to go back in time and calculate historical data when it initially starts. Once the calc is finished backfilling, it will enter a live mode state. Note, this date time picker is only used for the initial configuration. At a later time, if the user needs to re-backfill the calculation, the removal data box on the right can be checked and a new backfill date selected. This will overwrite or insert historical data going back to the time selected. Any data that exists before the remove from date will remain intact. The frequency setting determines how often the calculation will run. If on value change, the calc or event will trigger whenever the input tag or tags change value or quality. If periodic, the user can choose the interval at which the calc is triggered, followed by an offset if necessary. In this example, this calculation is set to trigger once a day at 6 p.m. On the right, we have a list of available functions. Hovering over a function will display a brief description. Selecting the function will also provide a brief description at the bottom, as well as an example of the expected syntax. Anything contained within square brackets is optional. The Asset Tags tab is only visible if selecting an asset type from above. It contains an exhaustive list of all tags of the given asset type. The Tags tab displays all tags from the given asset path. Finally, the Operators tab contains logical, mathematical, and bitwise operations. Selecting a tag or function from one of these lists will add it to the expression on the left. Multiple expressions can be added as needed using the plus sign. Expressions can be set equal to a variable, which can then be used in a later expression. Variables must start with a letter. Finally, an output tag must be created. The first branch in the tag path is the dataset and the historian where it will be stored. For this example, we are also using the wildcard %asset% as it is an asset-based calculation, and each output tag must be unique. This wildcard is a placeholder for the asset path found in the asset drop-down list. The final branch is a descriptive metric name. Once configuration changes have been applied, the calc can be closed and started from the overview screen. The calc will go through its backfill mode before it hits live. At this point, data should be stored in the historian. That's all for Calcs and Events for now. Thanks for watching.